Hello everyone, this is In-Game Art with another boxing, another offline product gaming review. This is Cruis'n Blast for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, this physical copy I have here has the update version 1.06 already on the cartridge, but sadly there was an update available. Now my on cartridge here has the code 001 on the back of the cartridge, so there could be a vanilla version out there with the basic 000, or there could be a more updated version out there in the wild of a 002 or so on. So just keep that in mind that my version here could be in the middle ground of being a more updated version than the base vanilla version out there. But going into Cruis'n Blast is an arcade racer through and through. It was, a lot of people were praising it, and I had it on back burner for a while, and I thought the price was a little steep for me, so I took a while before I bought it, but I finally went ahead and sat down and played it, and I overall enjoyed the overall experience of the game, but I was left with a disappointment feel of it. I felt more that the reason why the game is getting high praise for the most part is that we do have a lack of arcade racers available on current generation and last generation of consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and even the Switch. We seem to have gotten a lot more simulator racers or go-kart racers, but we haven't gotten games like the Burnout series or even some of the Need for Speeds or other ones like, let's say, Split Second and Blur, and just a lot of the very arcadey, racy style games for current and past generation consoles. So I can understand why a lot of people felt this was a breath of fresh air of finally playing an full to blood arcade racer of just fast, high speed, ridiculously drifting around corners, explosions, and arcadey feeling to the overall experience. But it is important to step back and just know that if this was being released at current generation, let's say PlayStation 2 or maybe even PlayStation 3 era, it wouldn't have done so. I don't think a lot of people would have really praised this as much as they have, as the game suffers with excessive cheating of AI, as well as that the rubber band effect is really bad in the game, as well as that I also noticed that AI seems to be scripted in some way. Eventually I just noticed that I was just doing races, and I noticed that computer AI were always either they were bundled up or spread out. So I learned that how to plan out how to navigate the racetrack just based by where the AI was, and I just instantly learned that most of the boosts and acceleration and drifting boosting really didn't matter because the rubber band effect was so bad. So I really learned to wait to the very end of the race before I start using my boost, and I just kept getting gold. There was even one on easy mode, of course, but I played with one hand and had the auto accelerator on, and I still got first place without with one boost at the end because I knew everywhere the computer was going to be and where I needed to be. So I thought that was really disappointing that once I knew how to break the game and took advantage of everything, I was beating even higher difficulties, just very hard, just straight up golds. Also, I did notice that the stats of the vehicles don't actually matter. I played a level 1 vehicle, and I played them very hard, and I noticed that most of every vehicle is doing 145 miles per hour, even though my level 5 saying their speed is all the way maxed out. So the stats of the vehicles don't matter, which I'm not complaining about that, but I see it's a little bit of pointless to have it up there if it doesn't matter. But I don't mind it not mattering because I like to be able to pick whatever vehicle I want. My particular one I like is a truck, simply because I like the way the camera looks, where other vehicles, the camera's more facing down, flat surface, while the bigger vehicles, it points downwards a little bit more. I like to see the environment ahead of me more than looking at the ground. So if you're like me and you like the camera panned out and more of a helicopter view looking down, try the truck. It's probably the best camera angle if you like that style. But I did enjoy the game. I know I'm sounding like I'm complaining about the game. I still 100% completed it. I got all the golds. I did all the keys. I maxed out the level of the majority of the vehicles. I didn't want to do a lot of the offshoot ones because I got bored with the game and just wasn't really interested anymore in it. So I went ahead and tried out multiplayer with my brother. We messed around with it. The game ran great, even with split screen. We noticed that you could even gain experience at 2 players, so the other player can gain experience for a vehicle for you in case maybe you have kids, or you can have a group together, or you could probably even cheat it by having like 4 controllers, set them all for auto drive, and then just let them drive to the very end. They may not get first or second or third and get massive experience, but you're slowly building up experience on multiple vehicles in one go. You could really abuse the system in that way, but like I said, I do love how arcadey it is. I do love the environment, even with everything going on, the explosions and the just the overall chaos of the game, the speed of the game. It's still really good, and it made me think of another game I really love, Split Second, which this game really felt like it, and made me really actually want to play Split Second again, because that game needs a sequel or a remaster or reboot or whatever. But I love how it is. I just wish that there was a little bit more refinement and just understanding of games. I know it's supposed to be like an arcadey cabinet where you pop in quarters and keep on investing money in quarters to try to beat a race. But for console-wise, it's a neat game. It's a neat little game to have on your shelf, but I do feel that it wouldn't get the praise it has now if it released in the past and tried to compete with the big dogs of arcade racing back in the day. I just felt that, I mean, it's an alright racing game. It's up to you whether you want to ultimately get it. I mean, I'm glad to have it on my shelf. I do think it's a little expensive considering what you get. There's only a few races in the game that's a variable, and most of them are just pretty much the same with a different variation of this is the dinosaur theme, or this is the helicopter theme, or UFO theme. It doesn't really change that much, and the tracks are alright. There's not a variety in it and everything. It's very basic. But I think the game ran great. I didn't have any frame rate issues. I never had the game once crash on me. We played multiplayer, split screen, and we never had any frame rate issues or so on, even with all the chaos going on. So to me, that's a huge sign of, this is a very well developed, coded game to make sure it ran great on the Switch. Because we have other games that are lesser graphics and lesser on what's on the screen, but yet still have frame rate drops. That's why it's always important to emphasize that it doesn't matter how graphical your game is or how bare bones your game is. It's all about optimization and how utilizing the hardware that it's being played on. In my opinion, if you get it cheap, definitely pick it up. It'd be worth your time to get it on a shelf. But man, going any higher than like 30 or 40 bucks for the game, unless you're really into arcade racers and you're really dried out because there's no arcade racers out there, I guess go ahead and pick it up. But for the most part, hopefully with this newer generation of PlayStation 5 and so on, we'll start getting a little bit more arcade racers to pumping out, because it is a little disappointing that we don't have as many as we did in the past. So, in my personal opinion, look into it. So, thank you all for watching. I try to leave links down in the description if you're Insta-copy, and I'll see you all in my next unboxing video. Bye-bye!